Antipop. Chat. What is up with my artists? I genuinely don't get it. They do this every single day, and I'm trying my best to live stream at different intervals, like hoping one day I will catch them by surprise. But literally like 10 minutes before the stream, there are people that start talking to me. And they're like, well, the trailer is ready. You need to decide quick. Do you want it like this? Or do you want me to change something, but like quickly? And I'm like, dude, I'm streaming in 10 minutes. Why are you doing this? Every single day, because people are wondering why I'm late. Like, literally 10 minutes before the stream, someone comes to me with a problem. Like, the developer is like, well, the pathfinding isn't working, V. Do you want us to do, like, something different? Or do you want me to keep cracking at it? And I'm like, dude, it's 10 minutes before the stream. Why are you doing this to me? Why? And I'm trying to stream at different hours. Like, during the day, no one wants anything from me. I'm the one that has to bother other people. But for some reason, like after I set the stream, that's when they start talking. People say that Afro is a satire website. Man, I hope it's not, because I already made the video for my main channel. Like, I already asked the twat that gave it to me. I'm looking at it. Because that's the thing. Like, look, I will show you the conversation where we actually did have this talk. Just a second so I can find it. I will name and shame him. You know what? I will name it. He's watching the stream right now, I bet. So he's going to get name and shame. Let me just scroll down a little bit. If he did this to me, he deserved the naming and shame. I took it on his word. Like, as you can see here, I have been approached by the evil man. He approaches me, and it's like, please do a video on this. OMFG made this is a gold mine. It's glorious. And I'm like you can see my skepticism here, right? Like, you can see it. And like, what is afro.com? Who cares? Read it. And you laugh. And I'm like, well, I want to know if it's satire. Is it satire? And he is like, well, Afro is a startup that combines fashion and streetwear with lifestyle commentary to create a strong social justice brand that is relevant to attractive people of all walks of life. Learn about their mission, values, and activism and how they celebrate all identities. So it's legit, okay? Like, Spoon has told me that it's legit. Is it satire? What is the proof that it's satire? It's not going really well, American Outlier. Maybe it's satire. If it's satire, it's going poorly. Yeah, no, it's not a source of trust me, bro. Like, I hold on. Like, I'm on the website right now. So, apparently they have how to be an ally, we support black artists, and about. I see nothing which allows me to believe that this is satire. Like, this is, in my opinion, a legit website. Now I'm willing to change my mind, okay? I'm genuinely willing to change my mind if someone is... If someone would show me that actually this is satire. They're selling merchandise. Like, besides people in the comment section that are just claiming it's satire, I would need to see some proof. The first article on their website is 6 things dudes do with their dicks that needs to stop. Tuck the penis between the legs when it gets hose again. That doesn't mean it's satire. No, I think I'm good. Yes. It was first on Bloomberg. Yeah, no, like there is absolute... You know what? Fuck it. I will ask Bing. Bing must know. So what is it called? Afro.com. Okay, so I'm going to ask Bing. And I'm going to settle this once and for all. Like, if Bing... maybe ChatGPT knows, so I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Hold on. Is afro.com a satirical website? So according to ChatGPT, it's now doing research on Bing. It's trying to figure it out. It's still trying to figure it out. This is a tough question. I mean, even I don't know. So it does not appear to be a satirical website, according to ChatGPT. Hold on, I'll show you guys in a bit. It actually says that it's described as an obviously fake op at a glance, containing no names or social, designed to stoke division, and its domain is reportedly owned by Icelandic scammers. The site is primarily shared and posts viral right-wing accounts. The characterization suggests that may not be a legitimate source of information. Yeah, but like, we're not getting wisdom from it. It's not because of that. The website itself claimed to be black-led, black-owned startup that combines art and fashion in lifestyle commentary. It emphasizes the power of art in sparking meaningful conversation. See, this is why I'm interested. It's in the conversation. Like, I'm not really looking for an academic study. No, I'm interested in having a conversation sparked. However, the content and nature of the articles published, such as those claiming anti-woke economic terrorists have wiped out significant stock value, raise questions about the site's legitimacy and purpose. Yeah, I mean, this is why we're doing this. Like, I get it. Like, some people wonder, when you publish such an article, it's like, are these people for real? It must be satire. But then you realize, you're looking into it, and it's like, well, there's no... You know, like, it's coherent with the woke ideology. And there's no reason to believe that it's satire. I mean, they don't brand themselves as satire. The website has been labeled medium risk for scam detector, which assesses the website reputation. In conclusion, it does not align with the characteristics of a typical satirical website and is marred by questionable legitimacy and potential intent to create division rather than offer genuine satirical website. So it's clickbait shit, I guess. But the thing with the clickbait shit is that it is coherent with the woke ideology. Like, I haven't seen anything in it which would debunk... You know, it's not like an atheist pretending to be a Christian, basically. It's not like a liberal pretending to be a Muslim. Like, they unironically, like, use woke ideology and talking points in order to reach the consensus. So no, it's not satirical. The main problem is that it's so difficult to tell reality from fiction today. I mean, you also have those CNN stuff like air conditioning is sexist. So when you have something like that, you start to wonder, well, hold on a little bit. Are these people for real? Like, are they genuinely, are they genuinely believing that air conditioning is sexist? Right? So when you have like that article on CNN, when you have like a less respectable website, you start to wonder, like, are those people genuinely making arguments, or, huh? Yeah, no satire, just autism. That's what I'm thinking. They're satire of news, but they take themselves seriously. I mean, if you want a group that was also borderline satire, but actually wasn't, Gazi Kodo from YouTube. Do you guys remember him? Like the black hammers and stuff? And you would look at it and you'd think it's a LARP. Like they were doing all of these very bizarre videos, and they went out in the wilderness in order to farm and to recolonize the land or something. Turns out, it wasn't a LARP. It was actually a cult. People got arrested over it. So, yeah, I mean, I can understand why it's hard to tell. Yeah, it's a rage bait website. That's what it is. It's a rage bait website. That's a really good way of putting it. Ahuru? What? No, it was Ahuru? I forgot. Like the thing with Gazi Kodo, right? Like, this is why I like that gentleman. His videos, not his personality. He was like one of the most racist people on YouTube. Like calling white people mayo and stuff. Saying that, oh, a white person has like a toilet seat complexion. You know, like that type of thing. And like he was just blatantly racist, like not even hiding it a little bit. And he had like some of the most bizarre videos that like he got what like I guess it was what you would call a white friend. It was like this little twink that was next to him. And he was like, what do you need to give me, boy? And he was like, reparations. That's right. You know, like, that was the videos that he was making. And for some reason, he never got a community guideline violation. Like, other people got community guidelines for, like, just one sentence, just like, saying one thing that was out of line. But, like, in every single of his videos, it was difficult to find a sentence that didn't violate the TOS. Like, finding one sentence that was in line with the guidelines was... a monumental task, a Herculean effort, right? So that's why I like this channel. It's like, wow, like if I want to know how to be edgy and how to skim the guideline, I need to look at Kozo. Maybe I can learn something. But yeah, unfortunately, he got deplatformed. He didn't get deplatformed by YouTube. He got deplatformed by the cops. Turns out he was running a cult in real life. It was called the Black Hammers. Yeah, what do you mean show? I'm not putting that on my channel. Jesus fucking Christ. I think he had like access to some magic, to some mojo, like maybe some voodoo or something, because like his channel never got the community guideline. But I'm pretty sure if I were to post his videos on my channel, then I would get in trouble. So no, I will not show that. They tried the commune. When that failed, they moved homeless guys in the house and raped them for real. Yeah, it's pretty much like what happened. It sounds so bizarre when you actually summarize it like that, but if you follow the paper, you know, if you follow the news trail, that's literally what happened. So, like, there were a couple of communists, LARPing. Oh, well, actually, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I may be able to show, like, a little bit. Oh, yeah, we have it in the news. We have it in the news. It's so weird when you see a YouTuber in the news. It's always... not good. Like when the news shows a YouTuber, it's not good. Look at the face this lady is making. Like this is exactly my opinion that I would have about Gazi Kodo. Like her face is how I was looking when I heard what went down.
We have now confirmed the 2 men arrested in a Fayetteville SWAT standoff have ties to a group some are calling extremists.
Kind of a twist to this story.
I love it. It's like some are calling extremists. No, the actions that they did are extreme. Yes, like kidnapping, assaulting. Yeah, you would consider if an organized group does that, and they have like an ideological bent. Yeah, it's something that people do on the extreme. It's not some would call it, everyone would call it. Like if I showed this to my mother, God rest her soul, she would probably say, yeah, that's kind of extreme. That's a little bit extreme, yes.
Black Hammer members openly say they have an alliance with the Proud Boys, which the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, has classified as a hate group.
See, I didn't know that. I did like this is news to me. This is 1 year ago.
White's been digging deeper into the Fayetteville connection.
A captain here at the Fayetteville Police Department confirmed both suspects are part of the Black Hammer Party. That's a controversial group formed in Atlanta.
I love how soft they are with the definitions, right? Like when it's a right-wing group, oh, hate mongers, terrorism. But it's on the left. Some would say, kind of controversial. Yeah.
In 2019. The normally quiet Woodbine subdivision. Lined with yellow crime scene tape and police cars on Tuesday during a SWAT standoff.
We've had our commander-in-chief, Commander Gazi Kotso, arrested, as well as our chief of agitation and propaganda, Colonel Kino.
I love the fact that they actually use Soviet terms, like our chief agitator and propaganda. Like they're not just LARPing, they're actually historically well-versed, let's put it like this.
Today we confirm one of the people arrested and charged in that standoff is the leader of the Black Hammer Party. He goes by Gazi Kodzo, but his real name is Augustus Romaine. A spokesperson for the Black Hammer Party told us today they don't mind being called an extremist group.
If we take that with pride, we take that.
I love it like they want to be called an extremist group. Like when I said everybody would call that extremists, the Black Hammers themselves call themselves extremists. And the media is like, well, actually, hold on a little bit. You know, like, some people would say. And I'm like, okay, but who are the people that wouldn't say? Oh, the media. I see. Naruhodo intensifies. when will I get to be labeled a hate group by the SPLC? I will tell you how these organizations that label things as hateful work. They will not label hateful something that's small, because then you give it attention, right? So the way it works is you have like the terms of service and on social media, and the purpose of them being vague is that people self-censor themselves, right? So you kind of know like what you are and aren't allowed to do, and they hope that most people just won't talk against the things that they don't want to talk about. However, when you start growing, then the social media tries to ban you, right? Like the terms of service. But if you're speaking in a way that you don't violate the terms of service, but you're still making a problem for the Democrats, then what they try to do is watch to see how popular you are. So if you're becoming like Joe Rogan level of popularity, they get the platforms to try and deplatform you. Now, if Joe Rogan would try to run for office, like if Joe Rogan got into politics, or if Joe Rogan became like the advisor of Donald Trump, then they would label what he does a hate group, right? So that's pretty much how it works. The other thing that the SPLC does is that they will label things that aren't extremist as extreme. So, for example, drinking milk, the OK sign, the Pepe frog, right? So they will go, like, let's say they want to audit my channel to see how hateful my channel is, right? Like, normally they don't do this, but like sometimes they want to go out of their way to see how hateful Twitter is, while completely ignoring Facebook and Google. So they will go and they will see, okay, well, how many Pepe signs there are, how many OK signs there are, how many people drink milk. And then they would consider those to be hate incidents, and they will rank them up, and they will say, well, we found like 50 hate incidents on this channel, and he only was streaming for 15 minutes. Right? So that it sounds ridiculous when you see the SPLC claiming, oh, Pepe the Frog is hateful, when in reality it's not. However, they are not doing this because they're stupid. They are also not doing this because they don't know. They want as many things to be considered hateful as possible. So this is why when I saw this article, I wanted to talk about it, because as you can see here, it's doing the same tactic. Like they are saying anti-woke economic terrorists have now wiped out 5 trillion, right? So call it what it is terrorism. So basically they're using a new definition for the word terrorism, because most people, when they hear about the word terrorist, they will think about the Nice attacks, they will think about 9/11, right? Like usually when you hear this word, it is so loaded because you think about a tragedy where many people have died. And the definition of terrorism is violence in order to achieve political change. However, what they do is they take the word and they add a new meaning to it. They say, like, if you do not go and you watch the Disney movie, you're a terrorist. Because Disney is entitled to your money. Like, Disney demands your cash, and you choosing not to do business with Disney is going to terrorize the academics, right? So they're using the same word. In other words, when you tell someone Bob is a terrorist, now you have to wonder, is Bob like a type of person that doesn't want to go see Disney movies? Or is Bob the type of person that I need to call the FBI on? Right? Do you not see the problem? But this is a tactic that even the Soviet Union was doing during the Cold War, since we brought up the Soviet Union. It is a tactic of assigning new definition to words. So you're not creating new words. You're taking words that are loaded with a specific emotional connotation, and you're adding new things to it. They get more donations the more hate they discover. Well, yeah, I mean, this is another thing which I talked about. And it's how most activist organizations work. And if you think about it, it makes sense that they work this way. When someone gets paid to do a job, the question is, like, why are they doing the job? Are they doing the job because they love the job, or are they doing the job to get paid? Like, it's no secret that most people go to work for 2 reasons, right? Like, let's say you're a trucker. Do you do the job? Do you deliver the things because you like driving? Or do you deliver the things because you like getting paid? And the answer is it's a little bit of both, isn't it? For some people, I would say, they do the job because they get paid. So there might be truckers that literally hate driving. They hate waking up at the early hour in the morning. They hate sleeping somewhere else because they had to drive in another city. But they're doing it to get paid. So the answer is almost everyone does a job because they get paid. Like, that is the primal motivation, right? So when you're doing an activist group in order to, I don't know, fight hate or whatever the fuck, you're doing it because maybe in the beginning, like, you genuinely believe in it, but when the money starts coming in, you start to do it because you get paid. And maybe, like, the original founders don't. You know, like, maybe the original founders, like, actually do it because they believe in the thing. But when they start hiring people, like, you start hiring someone to make the marketing, you start hiring someone to make the flyers, you start hiring people to drive around, and, right? When you hire people, the ones that you hire, they definitely do it to get paid. So over time, like, let's say you start an activist group in order to advocate for gay marriage, right? So you're trying to protect gay people from being discriminated. And you start like that. And the money starts pouring in, right? So eventually your activism is successful. And you actually get a law passed which allows for gay marriage. Okay. Now the money stops pouring in because, well, you achieved your purpose. You're free to go. But the thing is, like, they love doing the activism, right? Like, they enjoy doing what they set up. They like making the marketing campaigns. They like virtue signaling and going to community events and talking. So, like, what can they do? They don't want to just go away, right? So what they do then is like, okay, well, we got gay rights. Let's see if we can fight for another cause. Or let's see if we can do something else. Okay, well, let's do now affirmative action for gay people, right? Gay people are still discriminated. Every single company needs to have, like, a quota, so we have, like, diversity initiatives in every company, right? So my point is, like, once they get what they want, they will ask for something else, right? And then they will be like, okay, well, we got everything to do with gay people. Like what else can we do? Oh, let's get into transgenderism. All right, well, let's push for trans recognition, trans bathrooms. Oh, we got that? Okay, what else? Like, let's find something even more fringe that people don't agree with. Okay, trans kids, let's go with that. Like that is why you keep seeing these groups becoming more and more radical, because as time moves on, counterintuitively, the more demands that they do that get met, they will never, like, go away. I remember when 2016 was the year of feminism. Like, it was in huge vogue. Hillary Clinton was running for elections. Feminism was the thing at that point. And someone asked the feminists, it's like, when do you think that feminism has won? Like, what needs to happen so that you can say that feminism has reached the goals? And they couldn't answer that. They really didn't have an answer, right? So, like, you would expect something like, well, equal pay, or, you know, like, whatever. No, they didn't have an answer because they would never want to stop the grift. Because at the end of the day, like, if you're looking at many of these NGOs, they are grifting. My perfect example was, I think it was New York City. Maybe California. One of these states. They had, like, a surge of homeless people in. I think they had, like, 30,000 homeless people being busted. So the government gave them, like, a couple of $100 million. And I did the math, and it was, like, over $30,000 per refugee. And I was thinking, like, wow, that's a lot of money. And how much do you think actually got to the refugees? Probably not even that. Sorry, not 30,000. It was 100,000. Like, every single refugee that came in should have gotten $100,000 per person. And all I did with that money, I would just leave America and go live somewhere else. With $100,000, you can start a new life in Romania. Unironically, like, you can come to Romania, like, if you have $100,000 in your pockets. But that would mean that you have to work for a living, right? And you have responsibilities. But you can buy a house in a rural village, in a small community. And, yeah, I mean, with $100,000, you even get extra. So now you're a property owner, you got a lot of money in your pocket, you can even start a small business, maybe you get employed somewhere, like. But anyway, thank you, Jacob, for the memberships. When you are Disney, everything looks like children. That is such a good thing. I need to steal that expression. I love it. It's like, when you are Disney, everything looks like children. Here in Australia, every public school in the land has the progressive pride flag flying alongside the national flag. The way I view the progressive flag, especially the corporate one, like, here's the very funny thing. The actual initial rainbow flag, that one is fair use. Like, they didn't trademark it. But the new corporate flag, the one with the Marxist thing, like, that is... let me show you what I mean. Hold on. This one. Like, the original flag, the rainbow color, unironically is not trademarked. The artist which came up with it said that, no, it should be in the public domain. Like, everyone should be able to use it. But this is like the encroaching of Marxism onto the LGBT issues. I'm not even kidding. Like why do you have black and brown, right? Like, this flag is supposed to represent sexualities. But here you have, like, black and brown, which are races, which are encroaching in the space, right? And it literally is what it is. Like I know so many people from the LGBT community that are so upset, you know, about the corporations that are muscling in. And you have, like, Pride Month, and every single corporation is displaying this. The way I view it is the same way, like it's not really like a flag, in a sense. It's more like a cross, like a religion symbol. Like a crucifix, like it displays the allegiance of a person to a certain ideology. Like, that's how I view it. It's not like a flag, you know, which displays a nation. No, it's more like a pledge of allegiance. I mean, a flag, I guess, could be viewed as a pledge of allegiance, but again, like, I view it more like a cross. You know, like a Catholic wearing a crucifix. Like it shows that he has allegiance to the Pope. So like, you can be a Catholic and you can also be Greek, right? Like a Catholic Greek. You can be that. You can be a Catholic American. You can be a Catholic Romanian, right? Like, it transcends nationality. It doesn't necessarily mean that it opposes it, unless, I guess, like, if you're a Catholic Saudi Arabian, if that's allowed. But it's the same way I view this flag, right? Like, it's international. It can be everywhere. And it's like you... It puts you into an allegiance of an ideological nature, if that makes sense. So basically, when you see it on a lot of schools, it's kind of like seeing crosses on schools, right? The rainbow flag equals the golden cloud? No, like, you need to study the Bible a little bit more. The rainbow means that God promises not to nuke the earth. So you're basically telling God, it's like, hey, God, remember your promise, okay? Like, just I know you don't like, but remember your promise. That's how I view the rainbow flag. Christian practicing in Saudi Arabia non-existent. I think they are. I think, like, you need to pay the jizya. It's a tax. Obviously, I don't think that they're very mainstream. They may be marginalized. Actually, hold on. I'll ask ChatGPT. Why not? Are there Christians practicing their faith in Saudi Arabia? So there are Christians practicing their faith in Saudi Arabia, but the situation is complex. It is an Islamic state, with Islam the official religion, duh. The public practice any form of religion other than Islam is prohibited, and the government enforces a strict version of Sunni Islam known as Wahhabism. However, this does not mean that there are no Christians in the country. There are a small Christian population, primarily composed of foreign workers from the countries such as the Philippines, India, and Western nations. These Christians are generally allowed to practice their faith in private, within their homes, or in a small discrete community gatherings. The Saudi government does not officially recognize or allow the Christian religious gathering in public, and there are no church buildings permitted within the country. It's important to note that while private worship is tolerated to some extent, proselytizing for any religion other than Islam is illegal in Saudi Arabia. Christians therefore must be cautious about their religious activities to avoid any conflicts with the law. In recent years, there have been some signs of slightly more open approach towards non-Muslims. Religious practices under the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman vision for modernizing the country, but these changes are gradual and the overall environment remains restrictive for non-Islamic forms of worship. From what I know from Romanian history, there is actually in the Quran or in a hadith, I don't know exactly when. Like, do I have any Muslims in the chat to confirm? Because I may be wrong. I don't want to spread harmful and dangerous misinformation. But there is a thing called the jizya. So the jizya is basically like the heathen tax. So for example, under the Ottoman Empire, if you were practicing like a different religion than Islam, you had to go to the mosque, to an imam. You had to pay the jizya. And I think like the imam was supposed to hit you on the head like 3 times with a stick or something. It was like a thing of shame or humiliation. Like basically to remind you that you are basically tolerated, right? Like they do not agree with what you have to do. Like but like you're barely tolerated, so be careful. How many rainbow flags in Saudi? I think 1. I think the American embassy actually does have a Saudi a rainbow flag. The heathen tax, yes. Let me actually hold on. Let me ask about the jizya. What is the jizya, and how is it enforced? Do people get hit on the head? I know they did this in the Ottoman Empire, but I don't know if they still do it today. So it's a tax historically levied in Islamic states on non-Muslim subjects, which are called dhimmis. Jizya is mentioned in the Quran and has a significant role in the structure of early Islamic states. Today, the application varies. So the jizya was a tax in exchange for military exemption and protection by the Islamic State. Non-Muslims who paid the jizya were exempt from military service and were supposed to be protected by the state, including the freedom to practice their religion. The amount of jizya and the frequency of its collection varied. It was often assessed on a per capita basis but could be adjusted according to the ability to pay. The idea was that it should not be a burdensome task. Historically, the enforcement varied greatly. In some periods and practices, it was enforced with leniency and tolerance, while in others, it was applied harshly. The notion of physical humiliation or punishment, such as hitting on the head during the collection of the jizya, is mentioned in some historical accounts, but it was not universally consistent practice, and it is viewed contrary to Islamic principles of dignity and fair treatment. In the modern context, the jizya is largely obsolete. Most Muslim-majority countries do not apply such tax, and the concept is generally considered part of historical Islam jurisprudence rather than the practice relevant today. The concept of jizya has been misused and misconstrued in some contemporary debates, particularly to extremist groups to justify discrimination on non-Muslims. Such interpretations are widely rejected. Okay, so basically, it's easy to explain why the jizya existed. The need of every empire, and you do have like the Islamic Empire, is to figure out like what do you do with the populations that you conquer, right? Because you're going to conquer a group of people that are completely antithetical to your belief system. So like what do you do then? Well, you conquered them. Congratulations. Well, there's 2 things. Number 1 is what the Mongols did, which is genocide. But like that's not really economically profitable because you want to rule over people, you want to extract their labor force, you want to get their taxes, you want to enlist their children into your army. So you gotta, like all empires are multicultural. Like, because you do conquer other cultures, right? So like what do you do? Well, apparently what the Muslims did is this idea of the jizya, which is like, okay, well, we conquered them, now what? Well, they have to pay the jizya tax. See, like this idea, I see a lot of right-wingers freaking out about multiculturalism, but the reality is it actually existed in most human nations. It's like, multiculturalism ruined the Roman Empire. But like, you can't be an empire if you're not multicultural, because you're going to conquer people that aren't part of your culture. Like, otherwise you're not an empire. Right? So, They call the collection of jizya. You pulling my leg? It's what ChatGPT said. In simple words, extortion. Well, again, like this was done to people that got conquered. Like there was a war, you lost, and now you have to follow like what the victors are demanding of you. Leniency and tolerance aren't really words I associate with Islam. Again, like you have to justify to your citizens, or like think about it this way, right? You're the sultan, like you are the leader of the empire, and you conquered a bunch of Christians, right? Now, what do? Well, you can force them to convert, but it's a difficult process, time-consuming, requires a lot of resources, and you probably have like other nations you want to conquer. So you come up with this thing. It's like, okay, well, if they pay a tax, we leave them alone. You gotta tell your citizens to leave the ones that are paying taxes alone, because they are doing what they're supposed to do. Like, you conquered them, right? You don't want to antagonize them further. You just want to get money from them. So yeah, you do talk about, yeah, well, Islam is about leniency and tolerance. Like, look, if they're paying us, like, we already bullied them, but now just... It makes sense. Historically speaking. Like, it's not... I'm not an atheist, but I would rather live under Soviet control than Islamic law. I guess like both have advantages and disadvantages. It's really hard to say. I think like it depends on your social status as well. Because even when you live under Islamic law, like look, if you're the prince of Saudi Arabia, I mean, there are instances when a lot of rich people from the House of Saud, they go into Western places like Las Vegas casinos, and they drink and they have multiple hookers and stuff. So it's not like... It's not like the laws apply to you if you're high enough on the totem pole. Meanwhile, like if I'm thinking in the Soviet Union, even if you're like really high, even if you're like an inner party member or stuff, there's still people that want to backstab you. There's still like, you still need to watch yourself. In a way, like the higher you are in the Soviet system, the more supervised you are, and the more likely you are to be gulagged. But I think like the best example that I heard from GG is like, you can leave Islamic countries, you can't leave the Soviet Union. And I think like that is the strongest. You know, like someone may say, well, actually, you know, because the religion is like the shackles of the mind and whatever. But it is true at the end of the day, right? Like this is what I tell to all the Soviet simps, is that if it was so great, if that place was so amazing, why couldn't people leave? Like if you're a citizen, right, and you want to go to America, why didn't they allow you to do that? Because surely, like, no one would want to do that because, like, the Soviet Union was so great. Same with North Korea. And the answer is because it wasn't that great. Anyway, I traveled to Iran. They're not bad people. But we're not talking about the people themselves. We're talking about the political system, right? We're talking about the culture. Because, like, any country on earth, you're going to find people that are nice and people that aren't nice. But the question is, like, would you want to live there? Right? So when you ask that question, and it's also a very different question than being a tourist versus living there. Religion is just a manifestation of the ideal conforming to cultural norms. No, I think, like, religion creates the norms, don't it? I think it's the other way around. Give me a second so we can go back to the article. I don't want to... Oh, there we go. I don't want to make another video where I don't talk about the subject that I proposed myself to be talking about. I'll make a video on my main channel about this as well. So, Now here's the thing, right? This is probably rage baiting. I do agree, but one of the things that is true, especially if you talk with left-leaning people on Twitter, they do believe that if you boycott a Disney movie, that if you boycott Bud Light, basically if you are doing something except giving money to leftist causes, you are a danger to society. Like the reason that I decided to read this, because, some said, well, it's satire or they don't believe what they're saying. Here's the thing. The reason they hate J.K. Rowling, unironically, why do they hate her? Is it because of misgendering trans people? No, because Elon Musk does the same, but they don't hate him as much. I mean, they use his Twitter when they're attacking J.K. Rowling. Why do they hate J.K. Rowling? Well, what did she do in order to bother them? And when you look at what she did, and ironically, this is the reason they're livid, is that she doesn't donate money to women's shelter that accept trans people. I want you to think about this. The reason they don't like J.K. Rowling's is because of how she spends her money. They believe that they are entitled to this woman's money. Right? They believe that if they buy Harry Potter, that if they consume product, and the money goes to J.K. Rowling, then she has to do the right thing. They are not using the term terrorist irresponsibly. They know exactly what they are doing. But by assigning to words that have a strong emotional connotation, by assigning the things that they don't like, they expect the reaction from the public to be the same towards a person who chooses not to go to a Disney movie. They want the public to react to him the same way that they would react to the person who planned the Nice attacks. Right? So basically, it's not that they're using it irresponsibly. They're using it in order to fit their own agenda. It's called agitation and propaganda. They want to agitate you. That's what they are doing. Between the bourgeois and the proletariat, they still, like Marx, hate capitalism, right? So the thing that they hate the most is a democratic capitalist society. They want to get rid of that. So they will do this tactic of assigning to emotionally loaded words. They will assign it the concept of capitalism. So they will say, well, capitalism is white supremacy. Capitalism is the patriarchy. Capitalism is anti-environmental, right? So they will assign all of these things to capitalism. And they view everything that is anti-capitalistic, they view it as on their side, because their movement is international. So they view, like radical Islam. Is it against capitalism? Good. We're getting it with us, right? Who is dissatisfied in a capitalist society? Well, minorities. Okay, well, we're taking them in our ally group as well. They call it intersectionality, right? So basically, literally everything that is against capitalism, they will protect and support, regardless if, these two minorities, they have grievances with each other, we'll ignore it. Doesn't matter. Do they hate capitalism? Good. Right? There is no other moral compass. There is no shades of gray. There is no nothing, right? So the moment something is against capitalism, they will defend it. Afuera! That's why the Argentinian president had a good idea with what to do with these people. Do you debate them? No, afuera! Democracy is always the first step towards totalitarianism. But what if I were to tell you that totalitarianism is always the first step to democracy? Because at the end of the day, it's actually a wheel. If you look at the history of both countries, right? People get suppressed by a tyrannical dictator, and they hate it, and eventually they rise up, and the dictator is overthrown, and now they have democracy. And then they have a couple of more decades of democracy, and, it's peaceful and it's good. But then the people that manage to win, they start their own small dynasties in office, and they keep winning elections over and over, and then they consolidate power, and they go back to tyranny. And eventually, you know, people are becoming tyrannized, and they have enough, and they rise up, and the tyranny is overthrown. It has happened throughout history. It's like a wheel. We need Daenerys Stormborn to break the wheel. They're not wrong. Keep in mind, Star Wars action figures not selling actually hurt the economy. That is true, though. The people who buy beer are still buying it. It's just other brand of beers. Kinda, but like... When a company like the size of Auschwitz, like if the beer company would go bankrupt, there's people that lose their jobs, and we're talking about tens of thousands. There's people whose pensions were invested in that beer company, and now that money is lost. So it does have economic repercussions, even if they buy different beers. I just want to show you like this interesting thing. It is terrorism. MSNBC agrees. Hold on. Well, if MSNBC agrees, right? If MSLSD agreed, then it's settled. The science is settled, chat. MSNBC agrees.
To this, then it says that the moment you threaten the employees of even a very large corporation, you get to control its policies. This is economic terrorism, literally terrorism.
So hold on. Let's listen to this again. This is interesting.
Into this, then it says that the moment you threaten the employees of even a very large corporation, you get to control its policies.
So if you control the policies of a corporation, that's economic terrorism. So basically what advertisers are controlling what content creators on YouTube are saying. Is that economic terrorism? Right? So like if the advertisers on YouTube are saying, okay, I don't want any content creators on this platform to talk about the previous elections. Like you can talk about how Hillary Clinton had her election stolen. You can talk about how Bernie Sanders had his stolen. You can talk about how George Bush had how George Bush stole his election. You can talk about like literally every other election you want. You can't talk about the last one, because otherwise we're going to pull out advertisement money. When that happens, when is MSNBC coming up with a similar gentleman, which has like the face of the eternally concerned individual? This is the face of the journalist, isn't it? It's like almost no emotions, no nothing, but they're eternally concerned. What is their concern then? Like when Elon Musk is having the same problem with advertisers pulling out that it's like, oh, the platform is filled with hate speech. Can you give me one example? No, but it's everywhere. Like, okay, isn't that economic terrorism? I live over an hour away from the Southern Poverty Law Center HQ, and these people should be out of a job after the Civil War era. The Southern Poverty Law Center has labeled the Mises Institution for a white supremacy organization for pointing out economic fallacies. Oh my fucking god, they got sued so many times. I think like at one point, I may be wrong, but I think like the FBI pulled them off as a reliable source. They have labeled like terrorist organizations to be people that were pro-life and like didn't do any action. They were just doing activism, but was successful in their community, so they got labeled. And then it turns out that the banks refused to work with them because now they're on the list. Like let me tell you something, okay? I'll tell you something funny. When you are a game developer like myself, man, I so fucking love the fact that I'm making an indie game, because now I can throw my street cred. A game developer like my holy shit. You want to buy assets, right? So basically, what is an asset? Well, let's say you want to buy music for your game. There's two ways you can do it. You can hire a person that's like let's say someone that's a commercial someone that's a composer. Yes, a composer. So you can buy a composer to compose music for your game, which is expensive. Or you can usually go on certain websites like Game Dev Market or itch.io or other websites which will sell already made commercially available music, right? So you buy the package, it costs, I don't know, anywhere between 20 to 50 bucks, and you get a couple of songs that you can now have the right to put in your game. Now, when you look at the terms of service of those songs, usually the artist will say something like, you can use these songs if you bought them, but you have to credit me. You're not allowed to modify them. You're not allowed to sell them to other people. And some artists will say, you are not allowed to use these songs if you are labeled as a terrorist organization. And they're like, what the fuck is that? And they will cite the ADL and the SPLC, right? So basically, if I mean, I don't even know why the fuck they're doing it. Like, I don't expect that, I don't know, Hamas is going to go on itch.io or a Game Dev Market to purchase music. But some even go even further. And they would say something like, let me think, what would they say? Oh, yeah, they will say something like, if you're associated with the cops, if you're associated with the military, you know, like that type of thing. It's like I get, you know, if you were to trust the FBI, but like when you start naming the SPLC as, and again, like these people have been sued for mislabeling others, you know, for slander and whatever. But basically what I want to say is that they do have power, right? So like everyone goes like, well, who believes in what the SPLC says? Well, apparently you would be surprised. Good luck bringing a civil lawsuit to a terrorist organization. Of course you can bring a civil lawsuit. I mean, depends who that organization is, where are they settled. You know, they like take into account that being one, it means that you have been labeled. Again, like if you're, the question is like, what is a terrorist organization, right? Like if you're looking at something that the government labels as such, okay. But if it's like some NGO group, like some activist group, I mean, I can set an activist group and can name your mother as part of a terrorist organization. Like it really depends who does the labeling, like who makes the claim. Is it a government-associated entity, or is it like some random private organization? Because if it's a private organization, then they can, you know, obviously label anyone they want. They don't have to go and get a court order. They don't have to get a judge. There is no hearing. There's no like two sides, you know. For example, I suppose, like in Russia, right? So Russia now, the Russian government has labeled what they consider to be, I don't know, like the international woke movement or something like that. They're labeling that to be a terrorist organization. So the question is like, what are the effects? Like what is going to happen? Well, I think like banks will stop doing business if they are decided to be associated with that. There are certain things that are in a gray area, right? So like it depends. Like legally speaking, it is difficult to say which person is part of the woke movement, right? Like for example, if communism was labeled a terrorist organization, it's like during the Cold War era, it wasn't labeled as such, but it was treated almost the same. Well, if it's labeled as such, like how can you tell if a person is a communist or not? Because it doesn't necessarily mean that that person is associated with the group officially. But the question is like, do they share the ideology? And the other question is like, how much of the ideology do they need to share in order to be labeled a communist? Like, do they just say that everyone should be equal? And then the question is, well, okay, communist, but like, hold on a little bit. Like, what if he believes that all men are created equal, but he just can't express it properly because he's stupid? Wasn't they just labeled concerned parents at school board meetings terrorists? Yeah, like they labeled parents to be terrorists. The idea is to have like an emotionally charged word, and terrorist definitely is, right? Like when you say the word, you're thinking about Nice attacks, 9/11, like you're thinking about all these atrocities. And then you're using that word which stirs emotions in the heart of the public, and you're assigning it to concerned parents at schools, or you're assigning it to pro-life movements, right? The idea is to use the same emotion charge that the public has towards one group, and you veer it off towards another group that doesn't fit the definition. By the way, how many people I have in the chat right now? I do have like a proposition, 218 people. Is there anyone that can write lyrics for a song? Like, I am interested in that. If you can write lyrics for a song, and you know where to find me, I am interested. I want to commission a song. I have a pretty lady that can sing. I have a gentleman that can make the music. I just want the lyrics. So if you're capable in writing lyrics for a song, let me know. It's rarer to sell music to a fascist than being paid by the ADL. It's more like, I mean, you know, in one way I would get it. Like if I'm a music composer, I wouldn't want to see my music used by Hamas. Like, unironically, I wouldn't. But I think like those organizations like have their own songs, you know? Like the chances of them using Western music, especially one that's made for video games, it's phenomenally low. Yes, for succubuses. I will give you what I want. Like we will have a discussion. Do they have to be good lyrics? Yes. Did I call the aristocratic utensil a twat? If you're giving me like fake info, yes, you are a twat. And every person on planet Earth, including my wife, like everyone, this falls under the category of #all. If you're giving me an article that's satire, and I'm asking you, is it satire? And you say no, and then it turns out that you were wrong, then yes, by definition, you are a twat. I shall consider you worthy of twatdom. Did you know the type of music? I think like the one in Baldur's Gate, where it's all lives must die. Sorry, was it all mortal lives must expire? Yeah, something like that. If I remember correctly, Mexico banned songs that glorify drug traffickers. What? So no rap music? Man, like the thing with rap music in the United States, I swear to fucking God, I would not be surprised if it turns out the CIA was involved. Unironically, right? So like, I'm looking at the criticisms that video games and movies and TV show has, right? Like, what are the criticisms? Hypersexualized, things that are racist, things that are dangerous and harmful, too much violence. And non-stop, you can't release a movie without having an army of critics that are complaining about it, right? Why is rap music always getting a fucking pass, chat? Every single fucking time. Like, no matter the rap music, no matter the lyrics, no matter the content, they will always give it a pass. Just so you know how bad it is, Gillette, right? Like, Gillette released that famous commercial with the horrors of men asking women out, right? With the boys will be boy shit. And they were basically saying how misogynistic culture is, and it's like the patriarchy and shit. And in their original commercial, they literally had a rap artist that was dancing with like some naked, bikini wearing women in the background, showing their ass. And there was money flowing from the ceiling. So they released that commercial, and then they edited it, and they cut out that part. The music literally feeds criminal culture. It does. Like, unironically, it does. Like, you see people who are gangsta in their car blasting rap music. And you're like, okay, like, I'm not against the music specifically, but the lyrics. Like when you have violent lyrics, or you have hypersexualized lyrics, or you have lyrics that encourage people to do crime. What? Like, I'm not saying it should be banned. No. What I am asking is, why is it not ever criticized? Like why is it that a video game like The Coffin of Andy and Lele gets so much criticism, but for some reason rap music doesn't? Why is rap music always above criticism? Even with the N-word, right? Like, if you make a Hollywood movie and you use the N-word, I think like even when Quentin Tarantino made the movie about slavery, and he had to use the N-word to show how racist the person is. It's part of the historical telling, right? People freaked out about it. But in rap music, oh, you can drop the N-word like it's a new rap album. That's fine. You look at rap music, they glorify the unhealthy prison rap lifestyle. Yeah, spending your money on frivolous things. Don't give me the shit that is black culture. No. No, I refuse to believe that. Like for instance, you have like Muslims in the UK that were against the teaching of LGBT in schools. Like, no, they had no problem cracking down on that. No. Or when you had like Louis Farrakhan, right? Like he had a couple of speeches against Jewish people. Like they immediately deplatformed him. No, I don't think like, oh, it's being tolerated because black people do it. No. Like, if I didn't know any better, all right, like let me put it this way: with my high levels of cynicism, I would say it is allowed on purpose in order to keep the black community down, because unironically, that music should be criticized. Like if you have like a 12-year-old kid singing the lyrics about glorifying prison life, and you know like all the knowledge that they're getting from that music is that committing crime is cool. I find it very difficult to believe that, you know, the same people would criticize movies and they would criticize TV shows and anime and they would criticize all of that, but wet ass pussy is fine. Like, no. We all know why it's not criticized. I don't know. And again, like, not all rap music is like that. I mean, there are people who sing rap that have like, because I'm not against the music itself. Like, I'm not against, you know, a black person singing with a rap tempo. It's the lyrics that I wonder. Like, why are the lyrics, even within the black community, it's criticized that some lyrics have the N-word and stuff. So it's not like, again, like I want people to understand, it's not the style of music that I have a problem with. It's like not like the Christians, you know, they had a problem with heavy metal because they didn't like the instruments, they didn't like the sound ranges and all that. No, like my question is the lyrics, right? And what's interesting, if you look at black culture, I think they created one of the most beautiful musics on earth. And ironically, like jazz music is something that I love listening to. Like every Christmas, instead of listening to Christmas carols, I listen to jazz music. If you want to know how great jazz music is, I think it's responsible of making Fallout 3 a better game than it already was. Like without the jazz music, Fallout 3 would still be good, but not as good. Christians didn't like heavy metal because of the album covers. Yeah, but like they didn't like all heavy metal. Like I remember when I would show Christians like Christian heavy metal, because that was a genre, they still didn't like it. So many rap songs talk about killing your rivals. I know, but dude, you have like rap artists getting shot and stuff. Like it's not separated, you know. In some cases it is, but there are cases where the artist and the music that he is singing and the culture that he is promoting is not separated. My favorite jazz musician player, what was his name? Armstrong? Lewis? I think like Louis Armstrong actually has like a very interesting story. With Al Capone. See, the thing is like I'm really bad with names. I told this to Sargon, who wanted me to remember names in D&D, and I told him, look, I can't do it. Like, you're forcing me too hard. But there was a thing with Al Capone that I do remember, and I think it was Louis Armstrong. Because someone else asked, like, why do Europeans like jazz music so much? I'll tell you. It wasn't just Europeans. So Al Capone, as the story goes, and I think, like, this is on Wikipedia. Actually, you know what? Hold on, I'll ask ChatGPT just to be sure. Which... Frank Sinatra. Okay, my bad. No, wait. No. Hold on. ChatGPT is wrong. Fats Waller. Okay, so Fats Waller. So Fats Waller walks down the street and he is kidnapped by the henchman of Al Capone. Obviously, the man is probably shitting his pants because he doesn't know what's going on, right? And then he was found 10 hours later in a ditch with his pockets filled with cash. So what happened? Well, apparently, Al Capone had a birthday party. And at the time, Fats Waller was considered to be one of the greatest piano players in the United States. So they kidnapped him, took him to this party, forced him to sing, and obviously, like, rewarded him with a lot of cash. But the point is, it's not that Europeans like jazz players. It's that Americans liked it too, especially Al Capone. So he was a jazz pianist, organist, composer, and singer. Right? So, yeah, it's not just the Europeans like jazz music. But why do I like jazz music? It's classy. That's why I like it. It literally is. It's relaxing. It's nice to listen to. The lyrics are great in most places. It's wholesome. Like, there's no negativity associated with it. That's why I like it. I mean, comparing it to modern music, I'm not saying that modern music is bad. It's just that, like, jazz to me has like an air of refinement. Yeah, Frank Sinatra music is also good. I listen to slow jazz whenever I do chores and relax. Yeah, but the thing that really bothers me, right, is that if a social justice activist, right, like if a woke person, hey, hello Pixie, welcome to the show. If a woke person asks you, you know, like tell me something that, so if you tell a woke person, if you tell one of them, I really appreciate, in black culture, jazz music, right? Like, if you say that, so you think, like, black people are only jazz players and NBA players. I'm like, no, I don't think that. But what I do think is that you are heavily diminishing their contributions when you point out that, well, yeah, like, black culture created jazz music. Jazz, in my opinion, is my favorite genre, but now black people today find it boring and lame. Current day favorite jazz musician is Bonnie James. Past jazz players is Miles Davis. Miles Davis is actually amazing. I've not heard about Bonnie James, probably because I don't really listen to modern jazz music. But you know, like some people may find it boring because they're too young. Like, unironically, when you're young and your body is packed up with hormones and shit, you may like music that's more loud, and you know, like heavy metal stuff and things that are packing a lot more bang, while jazz music is a lot more relaxing. It's a lot more classic. I don't know. I guess it's a matter of taste. Anyway, right, I need to go and make my videos for my other channels. So thank you guys so much for donating, and thank you for listening. I would like to give special thanks. Let's see who donated today. American Outlier, Jacob Andrew, Solon the Lich, Lucius Cornelius, and those are all. So thank you so much for supporting the channel.